Waiting for YouTube. And we're live on YouTube. Alrighty, welcome everybody. Today I am going to be stem mixing Pravda's new, forthcoming track called Wannabe. We are releasing an album, I think in the next month or two, called The Benefit of Humans, and I am currently in the process of mastering the album, but there were one or two tracks where we decided I would stem mix them, so I thought it might be cool to do one of these live. And yeah, check out John's, he does a cool podcast called How I Make Music. It was initially just him, and now he's been interviewing a bunch of other people about their production process as well. So yeah, that's over on howimakemusic.com. It's a pretty cool site. And yeah, and then also you can join our mailing list at pravdaofficial.com to check out, to get notified when our album is on its way. So yeah, I'm going to be getting ready for the next couple minutes. I'm going to play you a couple of older Pravda tunes while we get ready.
Singing dirty, swinging all your way around town. Baby, when you gonna come on down? Hear you holler all about dollars, stacking up chips to gold. Hear you saying nothing's in your way. What about your soul? What about your soul? Girl, you got brass making it move. Shimmin' out, honey, ain't about money, all in no better now. You got time to prove, got time to lose. What about your soul? We all up on your soul. come my way? We're gonna go down to the river at midnight, baby. We're gonna have ourselves a time. I've never seen an angel in a riverboat, honey. We're gonna set the night on fire. There's a dark moon rising and a bottle of moonshine. And tonight I'm gonna make you mine. Just you and me down by the riverside, honey, when the moon is hanging high. When the lights go low, you're gonna be my baby. 'Cause sugar, you'll find. There's a dark moon rising and a bottle of moonshine. And tonight I'm gonna make you mine. Got some overdue business down by the river tonight. Let's go outside and make some mischief, baby, 'cause I got you in my sights. There's a dark moon rising and a bottle of moonshine. And tonight I'm gonna make you mine. What do you say? Oh, you gotta come my way. What do you say? Oh, you gotta come my way. What do you say? What do you say? To the river at midnight, baby. We're gonna have ourselves a time. I've never seen an angel in a riverboat, honey. We're gonna set the night on fire. There's a dark moon rising and a bottle of moonshine. And tonight, I'm gonna make you mine.
Hey, welcome, man. Sorry, I had my mic muted. Oops. Yeah, so I've reinstalled Windows on my machine, so hopefully the sound is all good. I did import most of my settings. Looks like the font on my titles changed, but I might have had a font pack installed before. But I'll have a look at that later. It's by far the least of the problems I've had this week. I have projects with 3 bands in 4 different DAWs that are like ongoing, and I decided to reformat my machine, like clean install. I basically bought an SSD and I wanted to make sure it was working because I had to send something else I'd ordered back. So that was, yeah. I was up nearly all night on Tuesday night, setting everything up. And then the next night I was doing work for one of the other bands. And then last night I thought, hey, I'll get an early night's sleep. Well, I sat in bed from 11 till 3 a.m. Could not sleep. And eventually managed, but oh my god, I feel like crap today, but it's all good. Work goes on. I'd like to get some progress made at least. Hell yeah. So those 3 tracks were actually mixed and mastered by me in the past. Yeah, so this job, let me just switch scenes. I don't have my pedal working yet. Welcome to the mayhem. Yeah, let's see. Wrong place. Oh, the tiredness is real. Luckily, my secondary hard drive was still plugged in, so all my projects and stuff are on this drive and backed up, but just means I didn't have to transfer a bunch of new projects. Although I'm considering running some stuff off my SSD, just like a few ongoing projects, especially if there's stems and things that are going to take long to load. But we'll see. Yeah, so basically I bought this 250 gig SSD and it's now my boot drive, and my install of Windows was pretty botched and hadn't been reformatted since like 2013, so I figured it was time to just clean slate, start with just the things I need. So yeah, our forthcoming album is called The Benefit of Humans. And here is my like mastering project. Probably open it. I won't do too many previews, but just so you can kind of see what's happening in the background. Ooh. Yeah, I've got new GUI issues. So I don't know if the basically my graphics card is from 2008 and none of the drivers seem to work properly. I've had some drivers have more plugins crash than other drivers. I've like tried various different ones. The one I'm on now is like the last beta they made before they basically stopped supporting the thing. And this was working last time I had that beta driver installed, but maybe it's because I had another driver previously, I don't know, that had all the prerequisites there. Nothing was broken. So things are more botched. But that is my next thing. I did actually budget for a new graphics card, so, or at least a second-hand one. So I am on the market regularly. Hey, welcome, John. Yeah. Let us see. So yeah, this is the kind of mastering project. I basically drag all the songs in, and then Reaper asks you single track or separate tracks. So if you do single track, then they'll all be in a row, and it's quite easy to just like move them onto new tracks one by one. But I don't think the tracks were named correctly. They were named like a duplicate track, basically. So what I ended up just doing was just dragging them out, checkerboarding them manually. Some people have scripts for this, actually. Guys who do mastering in Reaper will just like press a button and have them all cascading one after another on their own track. And then I have a final limiter on the master, but then each track going into that chain has its own like EQ and multiband and that sort of thing, depending on the track. I sort of start with a few initialized bypass things, and then I'll decide what each track needs as I go through them. And then that ferric plugin that was showing a moment ago, if I press, my screen set's gone. Oh, no, it isn't. Nice. It's amazing. You can just export Reaper's settings in here. Export configuration, and then on the new system, import that configuration. The only thing is, I've lost, and I'm sure there's a way around this. I think you can edit some files. I've lost like all my database file. I had like a splice database of all my splice sounds. I've recreated that. And I had some others where I'd put like favorite drums in different databases within Reaper. I'm pretty sure you could edit the file paths to like match your new computer. If I really wanted to keep those things, then I could probably have done so. I was going to say, this ferric TDS plugin, it's got some saturation, but I'm not running into the red. So at like around here, if my kick drums are peaking around, what -5, which kind of makes sense actually. If my kicks are around there, that's usually where things are still sounding clean. But there's still something happening, so you do find you can run things a little bit hotter into your limiter without as many peaks. But this is a 32-bit plugin. And at this sort of level of subtlety that I'm using it, it's almost like, is it really doing anything? But the metering is handy, because usually if I'm going above that -5 on the kick drums, I can usually hear some saturation either from this or from something later in the chain. So I generally just try and get everything in that rough ballpark. And if things are still too soft, that's when you might look at like multiband compression, see if your softest things can come a little bit up, or the loudest things can go a little bit down. Yeah, so that's kind of how I have been working. And then this is this loudness, Yulin loudness meter. And I don't have any hard and fast sort of rules on where my integrated level is. I generally look at the short term, and like a lot of the louder sort of EDM masters that I've pulled into the door will be at like -6.8 to like -6 short term. So that's in like the loudest part of the track, -6 LUFS, which is different from decibels. It's a sort of a loudness units is what they call it, LU. Yeah, it's a whole topic on its own. I am too tired for that. Too tired for that explanation today. And then, I mean, I don't go that loud ever, really. The loudest I think I've done might have been a -6.8, but it was maybe for, I had a Nigerian client who sent me sort of some pop tracks that he wanted to be loud, and then he was sending me these MP3s that were clipping, and like I wanted this loud, and I'm like, it's not gonna get that loud without me just clipping the mix, like literally having things peak above 0. Yeah. Hello, Snow Metal. You recently started using Reaper, looking to learn a few things. And from the cool, man. Yeah, I know those 2 videos. I have them in a tutorials channel in my Discord. They seem to have done really well. That's kind of why I started this channel to begin with. I was like, there's clearly some interest in producing electronic music in Reaper, but it's been a slow build on this channel. But yeah, I do have some tutorials on this channel. Like my one on routing, I think is pretty good. Okay, this chat windows and staying on top. Let's check the settings out quickly. I would like to actually be able to see what you guys are saying. Colorized author. That sounds fun. Don't remember that being there before. Always on top. Yes, please. Is chat relay on so you guys can see one another? Yes, nice. Cool. Yeah, so you can chat to people on Twitch from YouTube and vice versa. I just want to make sure my screen is up properly. Yeah, I keep my chat where you guys have stuff blocking the door on screen so that I kind of know where the borders are. So anyway, let's make, oh yeah, and one other thing I was going to say is for 2 of the tracks, I actually mixed them in this project. I pulled in the stems and worked on them in here in the mastering project, which is not something I've done before, but seems to have worked. It's nice being able to just jump to other tracks and A/B them. If you just copy something, for argument's sake, if you shift double click on an item, it creates a time selection around that item. By default, that's also a loop point. I have that switched off. I have a separate button to move the loop brace to my time selection because I like to be able to edit, like, I don't know, 16th notes and have my 8-bar loop still looping. You can also tell Reaper not to move the playhead to wherever you click. So when I'm playing, I can still click somewhere else and it doesn't jump there playback wise. So there are all those sorts of little workflow hacks. In fact, I think that first EDM production in Reaper video I did on the Reaper blog covers a lot of that stuff. But what I was going to say is when you shift double click and then shift R, creates a region around this item. So that's how each of these songs has a region around them. And that's handy for rendering because when you go to render, you can go project regions. And that says 22 files at the moment. There's 10 songs in the album. And I've duplicated one region. And I'm rendering to MP3 as well as WAV. So that's 11 songs times 2, 22 regions. That's really handy. And you can name them by the region. So you get project information. These are like wildcards. So it'll take that info from your region name and put it in the file name. It's one of the things I love about Reaper is being able to batch export a bunch of new versions. I just change the date in the file name, and then all those files are going to be the latest renders. And if you shift double click the region, you can give it a name. What I'll usually do is press F2, copy the name from the actual file. F2 is to get your item properties. Is it item property? Yeah. And I'll just copy the file name from there and take out .wav. Cool. Reversing. We just go don't save. So anyway, for this track, I think I'm going to use a new project just in case I need the tempo to be correct. I could put a new tempo marker in here. I just feel like it's less complicated to just make a new project. You don't know how, oh, you don't like how clicking places a start marker. Yeah. Specifically when editing MIDI. Yeah, so that is a thing that you can change. It's definitely in that part 1 video somewhere. I think it might be under editing behavior. Like something I'll recognize that page when I see it. Yeah, link loop points to time selection. So that's the one where when you make a time selection, your loop point moves. So that's this option here. Link loop points to time selection. And then I've turned, well, yeah, I've turned that off. Then there's also some options for looping. That's a different page as well. But yeah, that is an option somewhere. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in that video. But yeah, have a look around. For now, what I'm going to be doing is stem mixing this track. So here are the stems. I'm just going to drag them into a blank place, separate tracks. Now in my project template, I have a folder for drums and a folder for everything else. Sometimes I'll put another folder up for vocals. But so for now, I'll just move drums. I see kick is on its own. Thanks, John. I see beats on its own. And then I'll put the mids and the vocals in the everything else bus, and bass in the bass bus, which is inside the everything else bus. Some people like to group their bass and drums. I, for some reason, don't. I don't mind just soloing the bass and then soloing the drum bus if I have to. But I also like to be able to solo everything that's not drums. And this allows me to do that. So I can just go bam. There are no drums there anyway. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is figure out the tempo. I think I'll tap it in. Do that. The first thing I'll do is make sure that the tracks are on time mode so that they don't warp or time stretch the audio files when I change the tempo, because then if I tap in a new tempo, then the audio files will stretch or compress to match the new tempo. And how you do that is you go into track time base. So time means that it's basically minutes and seconds. So wherever your files are in minutes and seconds is where they'll stay regardless of the tempo, which is what I'll do for now. Beats, position, length, and rate is useful for like drum loops where, say, you've put them all in at 120 and they're correct at 120, and then you want to change your project tempo to 110. Then you'll use position, length, and rate. That means the whole, like, where it is in relation to the grid, start and end will be changed when you change the tempo. And then position only is like, if I put a kick drum over here, it's going to stay over there, but it won't stretch or compress when I change the tempo. So that mode is handy for drums. The one that doesn't affect your position, I mean your length or rate. So yeah, for this I'm just going to go time. About 101. Let's turn on the metronome. Let's try I think it might be faster, but let's just see. What I sometimes will do is I'll just trim everything up to a kick drum. I'm going to zoom in the waveform. I think it's the default shortcuts, shift and your up or down arrow. You can zoom in the waveform. Doesn't change the level. It's just handy for looking at things. So I'm going to tab to the kick drum. I'm going to select everything. And then you would normally just maybe slice it and delete the beginning. I have a shortcut to trim from the start to my cursor. So let's put this on the grid. I hope you guys can see properly the grid. I've got a bit of sun on my screen. I'm struggling a little. By the way, that shortcut I used, I've remapped all my shortcuts, but I have it set to A and S, which is what Pro Tools uses. This one, A is trim or untrim left edge of the item to the edit cursor. And then S does it from the right. So if I have my cursor here and I press S, trims that way. Undo. If I press A, it trims that way. I used that so much in Pro Tools, I stole it from Pro Tools. That's what I love about Reapers. I've stolen like little shortcuts from Ableton, Pro Tools, FL, Reason. And now switching to anything else feels rather unintuitive. Okay. Okay, the beat is slower than the metronome. That means we need to try 100. I'm going to undo that. One of these tracks isn't on time. Here. Skipped one by accident. I actually have a shortcut for it on my toolbar up here. Set selected track time base to time. I did not use ripple editing. I'm just changing the tempo. And snap is on. What I do have here is I have shortcuts for different grid sizes. So this is 1 bar. I have it at control 1. Control 2 I have on quarter notes. Control 3 I have on 8th notes. 4 is 16th notes. And then I've got Alt G to toggle swing. So if we look on an offbeat note, you can see this line moving. The other line isn't moving, so it's just swinging every other note. And then I've got triplets on control 5, and then I have 4-bar increments on control 6, which is nice for sort of working with longer sections of a track. now we've try 100. Move this onto the grid line. Perfecto. And I'm just going to drag back the start of these items. What I think I'll also do is Shift N to normalize them all. You right click on an item. I think that's a default shortcut still. It's a take. Item process. So normalize is Control Shift N for me, at least. I might have changed that. And then normalize to a common gain is just Shift N for me. The difference being common gain is they all get increased to whatever's the loudest point of all of those files is what level they'll all be set to. So their relative level is maintained. Whereas this normalize, each file individually will peak at 0 dB. Whereas that one, only the loudest one will peak at 0 dB. If that makes sense, and I can zoom out the waveforms and see things a little bit better. Sometimes what I'll also do is just normalize one, and then I'll look at the value over here. So it says minus 8, plus 8,27. And I'll look at the new value once I've normalized it. So now it's plus 20, so that's 12 dB more. And I'll just compensate for that on the track volume. So this could now be minus 22. Yeah. That's just sometimes useful just to be able to see all your waveforms a bit better without zooming in. Looks like I've got a vocal in this mids bus. Let's just see, is there anything else in here that we need? Okay, so it seems like this is an extra. Just gonna double check, is there anything else? Oh, is this the whole track though? Might have to come back to this project. It seems I don't have it. Seems I have the vocal twice. And the tempo seems to be wrong. Roll. That vocal and not have the drum separate. The bass, the drums, maybe I'll just work with these. Yeah, everything does become louder. That's kind of why I'm doing it in the beginning. Just so that any plugins I use that affect the sound, like distortion or something, then when everything's louder, it will change that level going into the distortion. So just for starting out, it's sometimes useful to do that up front or before you've done anything to that track. But as you saw, I did compensate for the level of, if I did it on just one on its own, I compensated for that on the track itself. Interesting, the vocal sounds better on this track than in this mids track. Sounding nice, so I don't think it's a train smash that we don't actually have stems for everything.
Don't need theory if you got game.
I feel like the low end is a little bit loud. Looking for a frequency that's possibly bothering me. Yeah, so if I had the separate elements, what I would probably try and do is have the kick have a bit more of a click to it, like a bit more definition, and then just because it seems like the bass and the kick drum are all kind of, they're not clearly defined, if that makes sense. I'd probably also try and process the bass to have a little more body, although we could still do that with this. Let's take out all the lows. Like that might even just be enough, just to have a little bit more of the bass mid-range. Let's try Ooh, no UI. I don't know if I need to install Camel Crusher from an installer. Not all plugins work with just the DLL. Could also be cool here is, like, I don't want it to be in your face wub wub, but I just think a little more definition in terms of what's happening to the bass would be cool. Multiply did install. I think my plugins aren't all in their old folders. That's another thing. I got all my folders from the old configuration, but they aren't full of my plugins. So some things did show up in the right place and some things didn't. So I don't really know how that part of it works. Without. Now let's try and blend it in. Without. Still a little bit, actually that's going to affect our distortion, so what I might just do is put it a new one after the distortion. In fact, we can still use this too. Solo. Actually, that's fine. It's the kick drum I might use. Ah. I'm going to keep this in case I decide to get more stems from him later. So I would just like the mids separate from the vocals. At the moment, I've got either everything or the mids and vocals together. And then there's a mids bus that doesn't have all the mids in it. What I'm going to do with this kick might even work on its own. It's again also just to increase the clickiness. Might even copy over Camel Crusher from this guy. Oops, I hit paste instead of copy. Yeah, Camel Crusher does have a UI. I just switched it off because I haven't installed everything properly, apparently. What I'll do with this, I think, is I might use Reapers. Actually, let's try the gate. Oh, I just wanted the initial duck, duck, the like initial pluck of the kick. This is the joy of stems, though. It's like it presents its own challenges, but they also end up finding creative solutions to problems. And it's quite fun. So if I turn the attack down, it does seem to catch it. This, if you give it pre-open, it's kind of, I think it's like a look ahead where it adds latency, but then it catches the peak for sure. In fact, I think you could have your attack the same value as that, and it would still be open by that point. Before, after. In fact, I feel like it's mids we want. I feel like it's different for every kick drum. There's like a natural frequency where you can bring out some presence without it sounding unnatural. This is again pre the distortion. Doesn't seem to be doing a hell of a lot. We can always do it post. That's a bit extreme. I'll turn it down. I guess we can compare it with this one, and just to hear what I've done in solo, so to speak. Without this layer. I'll have to also listen on the monitors. Sometimes things sound more clicky and more mid-rangey. The little short percussive things, I hear them better on my monitors. It was subtle in solo, but I hear more of a difference in the mix. It's quite interesting. Good morning. Good vibes. Okay, let's check out the vocals again. I think there were more effects on send that we aren't hearing now, so I'm going to, and I know he loves his reverb, so let's go.
My bare feet never touch the floor again. You don't need theory if you got game.
Still not sold on the tone of this.
On this song, on a subway train, my bare feet
do. I have an OTT setting that sometimes works on sort of subtly boosting, because OTT has upward compression and downward compression, sort of bringing up the softest parts as well as bringing down the loudest parts. And at subtle settings, it can be quite handy.
Hum this song on a subway train.
Without.
Hum this song, hum this song. Ba-da, ba-da.
Okay, the setting that I had is very subtle, but in a full master you'll hear it. So I'm going to push it a bit.
Pin myself to the circle of eyes. I pin myself to the pin myself to the pin myself to the circle of eyes. Pin myself to the circle of fire. Pin myself to pin myself. Pin myself.
So it's sort of pushing up the high end without, well, and also compressing it, basically.
Pin myself.
I'm hearing that sound a lot on vocals these days.
Pin myself to the circle of fire.
Feel like even though, let's try my normal reverb send. It's like even though there's verb and there's stereo width, it's like could be pronounced.
Pin myself to the circle of fire.
That's just my air verb on a send. It's a room preset or the room preset in it that I've modified slightly.
Pin myself.
And I use it very subtly on some things and a lot on other things. I really like how it sounds. Yeah, Harrison. Looks cool. I think I have enough DAWs. I've just reformatted my computer and I was like, shit, I have projects with 3 different bands in 4 different DAWs. And they were all like ongoing. But I was determined to make sure, number one, that this SSD I bought worked. And like back up my stuff. I still have that drive. I can always go back to it if I really need to. But the aim was to try and switch.
Hum this song, hum this song on.
I'd like to add more echoes. Let's try my tape send.
Hum this song on a subway train. My bare feet never touch the floor again.
Yeah, I understand it has a... that console supposedly sounds very nice.
Hum,
The plugins on it.
hum this song on a subway train. My bare feet never touch the floor again. You don't need theory if you got game. You don't need theory if you got game.
Yeah, I'm basically... Every little extra thing that you have on its own track is like gold.
Hum this song one last time. Then I turn the light.
Yo, that's amazing. So, the delay might be a little bit much. What I can do is, it's this reactor. It's a community ensemble. It's apparently a modification of one of the stock delays. I just love how it sounds. Called stereo tape delay. And what I was thinking is there's a ducking setting. Yeah, here we go. Still want more. Ooh. Maybe give it a release. Nah, it's fine. Okay, this is why it's handy to have your grid on and correctly tempoed. Here. Now I can go. This, by the way, is use volume pre-effects to do stuff to the waveform, so to speak. It's just handy visually also to see exactly what you're doing. I'm turning snap off. No dog. Hello dog. Oh. Not now. No. Let's go back to quarter notes, turn snap on. basically want to pump up the tails of this vocal in this section. Good enough. So now what I'm going to do, let's see, it happens every so often. I'm going to draw a loop brace there. An item, this little lane down here is for drawing item effects. I think it's Alt drag to draw in an item. And now I can just drag the edge to loop that. It's pretty handy. I was hoping to have that violin on its own. So this bus doesn't have the horns in it, was the problem. And then this one has the horns and the vocal. So I ended up going with this because it sounded more natural. What I was also thinking about doing is maybe bolstering that horn with a synth. Okay, the delay sounded good in the beginning. I think it gets too cluttered later, so I'm gonna pump it for the beginning. Okay, I think this can come up, this whole section. Let's get that send effect volume up. Like I said, I want it to be present, but not overbearing. Without this chain, Control B, by the way, to bypass. Without this chorus, also a big difference. You know I love that chorus. You know what I could possibly do? Is actually use this new gated layer, full range, or make a copy of it with the low end, and side chain the low end of this with it, just so that there's a bit more separation between the kick and the bass in the... Sounds rather... I don't know, it sounds kind of washy and undefined. It's a little bit better with that kick layer on it. Without that layer, I don't know. I might do that. Something I do rather often. So I bring up span, except it's now behind the chat, so I'll float it. So with span in its default setting, it's kind of like pink noise mixing, so they've weighted it so that pink noise would look flat. Even though pink noise has the high end tapering off versus the lows. White noise is flat across the board, and white noise sounds bright to us, so it's a sort of... Pink noise is a useful reference in mixing. Some people actually play pink noise and they'll bring up the faders until they can sort of just hear it in the noise, I think. I forget exactly how it works, but yeah, this kind of is a similar thing, to be able to see everything as if it were flat in the frequency spectrum, even though it isn't. Just to adjust for how our ears hear things. So I'm basically just having a look that nothing peaks way above anything, way above your lows. And some mixes I'll see, they almost have a smile in this, where the bass drum is the loudest thing, and then something in the treble is sort of equally high on span. So that line is kind of handy. I don't think this needs to be a particularly bright mix. It's more of a debate as to whether the bass can go down, but I'll also look at it again in the mastering project. We want to turn down that delay once the track starts. We could maybe set it just for certain words. feels like things are a bit overly wide, especially on the mids. I would have liked to have had that do-do-do, sort of make it a bit more dry sounding, just a little bit. Hell yeah, bro. Enjoying this tune. Okay, let me just see if this idea works. Cool, man. The main thing that we discovered is that the mids bus has vocals in it. So I ended up using this instead. And then augmenting it with some of the other layers. So I made, without the effect, just sort of made a mids layer to bring that out a little bit. And the same with the kick. Stuck a gate on it and camel crusher. And EQ'd it a bit just to get some presence into the kick. I wouldn't mind hearing this on my speakers quickly. Yeah, I think if you can send me that mids bus without the vocal in it, that would be cool. And then while you're there, you may as well send me the MIDI or the horns if you have them as MIDI. Otherwise, I can probably figure it out. I might just augment them with something. And that should be enough. Yeah, having the mids separate would be super cool, because basically this mids bus here is missing the horns. Missing my shortcuts today. Versus this. Has the horns in it, but has the vocal in it. So that's the only thing. Yeah, that's super cool. The horns, I mean the bump 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 bump. Don't need you. I wanna yeah, the bump bump. That isn't on the mids page. I mean, on the mids track. It is on here, but the vocal's also on there. So that is all. Because that will be pretty cool, because then I can, well, then I don't need to use this track anymore. I can use all the other stems as they were intended. Oh, I suppose it's a FM horn section. Cool. Cool. Know the feeling. Must have coffee. We'll have a listen from the top. Catch you later. Huh, haven't saved. Just copying all the files into that folder. You'll notice I had the original files just in the root directory of this album. So once it's copied everything across, I can delete them. It's just reanalyzing the peaks. Are good to go. Right, I need to restart Reaper because I want to use push and it wasn't plugged in, and the script that I have for push runs on startup. I have noticed an issue. When I run Reaper, it seems to often crash when scanning Serum. The first time I ran it after booting up, it's fine. This is also just after reformatting my machine. It wasn't doing this before. But if I use the shortcut, like if you search for Reaper, one of the shortcuts in the directory in the start menu, you've got like rewire client, you've got audio configuration, you've got reset configuration. But when I do this create new project, even though that's what it's supposed to be doing when you run it anyway, it doesn't crash on that Serum. And there is a Serum in my track template right here. So I don't know what that's about. It's a very odd one. And it's just since I reformatted. I'm hoping it's another anomaly that'll get fixed when I upgrade my graphics card. Touch wood. Otherwise, I don't know. An odd one. Maybe I misreported to Steve. But it seems weird. It wasn't happening before. Although I was running 6.12c on my previous sheet. This is 6.30. So it could have been a new bug that emerged that might have to go to Cocos to be reported. It's when I first run it, fine. When I rerun it, problem. Very weird. Okay, so now I've got push. Interestingly, it has. I wonder if I can set this to default. So this is driven by Moss for Reaper. He's supported a bunch of controllers, made scripts for running them inside Bitwig and Reaper. He is a legend. There isn't even, at least last time I checked, there wasn't even a donation button on his site. And he's been updating them like constantly throughout the year. Like the last time I had it, I think I had driven by Moss 6. He's now on 10.5. And I can see now when I press play on a song, I can actually see the notes playing on push. Whereas before, you'd play the notes and you'd like it would light up green when you play, but when it was playing back, you couldn't actually see the notes on the push. And it's super handy for learning a chord or seeing what key you're in. It's just like playing and you see your bass track and you see what notes it's playing. It's like, lovely. Don't even have to open the piano roll. I want to see if my defaults. I want to be chromatic. Chromatic. I don't know why it's listed here twice. Hopefully that fixes it. It seems also the settings are now saved per project. So if you have a specific scale in one of your songs, it will remember that scale. So I did update my template, and it had been working, but now it didn't. So I don't know what's up with that, but it's all weird. I'm just stoked to be able to see the notes when I play back MIDI now. I want Zero. Yes. You put more synths in the synths folder. Ooh, my headphones are loose. I've got it. Got 16th notes. I don't think we need much swing, if any. Let's go 20% and then hit Q. Quantize. 70 something sounds fine. Make sure the loop start ends on the bar, so if you duplicate it, it doesn't go off time. Now let's turn this into just some sort of a layer. Also open the filter. Similar thing. So I'm kind of, I don't think that's an FM8, but maybe it is. Sounds like brass. Maybe it is. I just think nice to have some sort of a layer underneath it. Send this to my reverb. Did it? Try the large one. I don't think I've used it for anything else. We can actually check that by going to the routing. Nope, haven't used it for anything else, so I'm going to change the settings. Oh yeah, that makes a big difference, I think. Hear it again in the next section. Without. It's the last chord. That does sound like... kind of. Feels more diminished. Maybe that's what it was. Just record that in. Oi. Cool. Prop to active take. Prop to active take. We can automate the filter too, why not? Or we could use the mod wheel. Oh no, my pedal isn't set up, I don't think. Although maybe it's easy enough to do. I've got my mod wheel mapped to a foot pedal called the FBV Express Mark II, and it's apparently enabled already. How cool. Must have gotten the settings from my previous install. If I move the pedal, nothing happens, but it's on. Different mode. Now, yeah. So let's map mod wheel to the filter as well. Need to move my seat back a little so I can put my foot on it properly. Let's go into overdub mode. I should probably have a macro shortcut for this. Input overdub. Mod wheel. A button I have. Turn my automation points into lines. There we go. Rockin'. See if I can select just these points and move them along. That's fine. Important once you've automated something, just to make sure there's a node in the other clips, kind of in like in Ableton with your pitch bend. Stick one in there. Same over here. I'll copy it actually. Cool. That was a useful addition. John comes back, we can tell him he doesn't need to give me that MIDI anymore. All that brass layer. I was considering doing the same for the clap. Let's try my delay send, not the tape one, just the ping pong. I think that was also in one of my EDM Reaper blog videos. I have one delay that just does play the sound. I have one tap that pans left, one that pans right, each at different times. So this one is 2/8 notes, this one's 1/8 note, and then the second one repeats the sort of second tap, so it repeats both of those ones. The feedback for these two are both down, so you just hear one echo of each. The dry signal's down because it's a send effect, but then this one, the dry is up, so we can hear this one, and then it echoes it. So tap, 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 tap. Then this one repeats those two. So effectively created a ping pong delay where there was not before. Took me way longer than it should have to figure that out. I was constantly like, I wish there was a ping pong delay. But hey, we learned eventually. Oddly enough, here without this layer. Oddly enough, I'm wondering if it'll sound good pitched down slightly, the top layer. Like 2 semitones. Oddly enough, I think that works. So let's look at the clap. Where's the beat start? Here. Have a marker here. Shift M. Make a new clip. twice in this one. Let's go 1 bar. Didn't work as planned. There we go. Seems to carry on like this one the rest of the way. Whereas this first bar doesn't. Thought there was some bars where it stopped. So I wasn't sold on that clap, I was just getting it into the project. I have other settings that allow me to open multiple clips. So normally if you double click on one, you just see that clip. But I have, it's under view, I think. Contents, maybe. Yeah. I have opens all selected MIDI items. Then I've got, yeah, media item selection linked to visibility. That means when I've selected all those clips, we can see all those clips. And I can edit all those clips. And then I think it's under options or view. There's basically somewhere in the preferences, I'm sure you can search for it, is to only have one window, one MIDI editor window per project, because otherwise if you double click on multiple items, you'll end up with multiple MIDI editors open, which I don't like. I prefer to just have this one. And now because editability is linked to the items I've selected, I can grab all these claps by right clicking on a pad. By the way, if you right click on a pad, you select all of the things on that pad. So now I'm going to just try out some of the claps. That could be cool. Interesting. It's on the grid. Oh, swing. Well, maybe we want a bit of the swing. Yeah, we want straight, I think. So I've mapped control up and down to move the MIDI notes. I'm also going to control drag, turn down the velocity. Maybe we alt left and right, like delays it. I think it's in pixels or something, because if you're zoomed out, goes a lot further than when you're zoomed in. Try the one below. Let's try pass effect. Without. Subtle. Less subtle. Sounds like a few more claps now. In terms of how it sounds, luckily we have this circuit solo beat as well. Here it is, mix. Without. Maybe we don't need the high frequencies as much. Just another little layer. I'm going to do another playthrough on the top with the vocal. Actually do a speaker listen, move around a bit. thought I had a WhatsApp web open. Some bloop bloop, little bleeps and things there that I thought, is that my phone? One sec. I can leave the door open. Good. There. Boom. That sounds very much like a WhatsApp tone, especially coming through my speakers. A bit of extra like roominess to it. Sounds pretty nice on my speakers, maybe a little bassy.
I wanna hum it.
Now I'm on headphones, might do another quick playthrough. And then maybe I'll work on something else for a little bit.
I wanna hum this song on a subway train. My bare feet never touch the floor again. You don't need theory if you got game. You don't need theory if you got game. If I'm a goldfish fish, I'ma do it right. One last glance, then I turn the light. Pin myself to the circle of fire. Pin myself to the circle of fire.
Got another idea for this little bit. Bar. Not only that, but I'm thinking some vibrato. So way to do that would be go to the matrix, into the matrix. Either for one, global master tuning. Now if I turn this to like literally 1. You already hear it warbling away. Let's turn BPM off. It's already a pretty good vibrato. Then I will, sometimes I'll pull it back further with this dial. Because even at 1, it's still quite a lot. Also make sure it's bipolar, so it's going above and below the normal tuning, as opposed to just up or just down. And then I've assigned it to mod wheel. This auxiliary thing, basically this scales that. This whole, like the other faux affecting the pitch is now scaled by the mod wheel. So at 0, the mod wheel, at mod wheel 0, you're not hearing it. And at full, it's also opening the filter and doing the cutoff. I mean the vibrato. We could make it more extreme. We could go to 2 and then dial it back with this guy. I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to copy this to the low end, but I think the kick could be louder actually versus the bass. Tempted to tell John not to worry about either of the things I asked him to do. We're getting that far along. Now I've got that as a layer on top of what's going on. Woohoo! Beefy kick. they're not sounding 100% together. So what I'm going to try and do is put this back at no pitch, blamming a bit. Let's try some reverb. Try this free reverb. Upstart. What's up, man? Pardon. Kind of slightly metallic. The other free one is ROM. Not sure if it's still available. And then there's the Valhalla Supermassive and the other one. But I love this Reverb. And this bundle was recently for sale for like $15. I really do recommend this Air bundle. This is my go-to reverb. I feel like this bundle is pretty underrated. Small one sounds like. No, preferred how it was. Dial it back, dial the decay down. Size maybe. Just sounds less metallic to my ears. I feel like this could be a little louder. I'm going to... Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just do the buses. Drums bus and the rest bus. 2 dB. Start this layer. In fact, this isn't without layers. Without any of my layers. It could be softer. Trying to sort of keep some space for the other things. Without it. Man, I am happy. I think it sounds a lot better. I hope John agrees. I'm going to do a quick render of this and then maybe work on something else for a bit. Wannabe mix. Let's put a date on it. Entire project, cool. 24-bit wave, yeah. Leave that as is for mixes. Have you guys been able to hear me? I mean, hear the music? I don't remember setting up the sound. That would be pretty hilarious if you guys couldn't hear this whole time. That would be quite... This is what happens when you are tired. We're about to find out. I don't remember setting up Reaper's sound settings so that you guys could hear it. Okay, well that's a relief. You guys can hear it. Well, I'll be damned. This driver wasn't installed the last time I ran Reaper. That's why I was suddenly freaking out. That driver wasn't even there before. So it must have remembered my settings because I imported my Reaper settings. That's lucky. Sweet. Let's see what else is in my recent projects. Work on something of mine for a little bit before I head off. What's this? This was a 30-minute challenge yesterday. Don't think I'm going to keep it, but I seem to have saved it. Maybe Maybe it was worth saving, maybe not. Turn the turn 10 dB pad on. Nope. Drums aren't too bad. The overall idea is meh. It was for a challenge where we chose a picture out of 3 pictures and made something that suited that picture. Actually, let's work on surge track. Save changes. So yeah, gonna work on something else for a little bit. I can probably change the title for Twitch, but for YouTube it will be... Oh my word, I have not installed Surge or Portal. Okay. Will this sound like anything? Ha, so the piano's there, that's nice. Let me get Surge. By the way, Surge has had a bunch of updates, and I believe you can now import your own wavetables. So you could theoretically use the demo of Serum, grab their wavetables, make your own wavetables in that 30 or 20-minute limit, export them, and use them in Surge for free. That seems like a pretty sweet deal. 2 minutes. Okay, what was the other plugin that was missing? Portal. That's a splice number. Splice is running. Need to install Portal. Hello. Come on, guys. It was literally in my taskbar the whole time. Like, if you're running, right? Oh, it scanned my folder and found all my stuff. Is it? That's awesome. Because before, it was showing nothing in my library, but I pointed it to my Splice folder with all my stuff in it from before. So unless it's been downloading in the background without my awareness, I don't think so. I don't think sync is on. I think it's off. Splice folder. Example. So you can do a one-time sync. I didn't. So that's cool. It must have just worked out that all my stuff was there. That's hell yeah, I can use Splice. That's great news. But now I'm looking at tools. Install. Pretty sure I've got the latest Serum. I literally went to the site and downloaded it the other day, so I did, unless there's been a brand new update. I think this is lying to me. Although I didn't install it from Splice, I installed it manually. So we will have Portal shortly. Let's install Surge. Earth to Surge. Okay, we can always go back to those things. Oh, I can use labs now. That's a sweet bonus. Before I formatted, labs would... If you loaded one instance, it was fine. If you duplicated that instance, it would take forever to duplicate. If you tried to reopen a project with one instance of labs in it, it would take literally like half an hour. There were some other things. I did something, it would freeze, and it looked like it had completely frozen the computer, but it was actually doing something, and it would eventually load, but I don't know what was up. Labs was seriously bugged. And since my reinstall, it's working great. So, point to folder, looking for my propeller hit drums folder, which is here. I did relocate some things when I reformatted. Some of the sounds are in the splice folder. Cool, no missing stuff. Let's have a listen. So yeah, this is still in its early phase, this track. I'm assuming this is for system files and not the VST itself. Maybe not. So I'll point it to where my VST files are, which is in common files VST2. Okay, heard this loop. Urge still hasn't started up. Maybe it'll start when this is done. Odd to me that it didn't launch. Wow, nearly 1 o'clock. So I started at about 10:30. It's been 2.5 hours. Yeah, I'll probably go on another half hour. I have some work to do that is not music related. And then I've got some work on another band who I have not got permission to work on their stuff live. I could ask them though. Might be cool to see because there's vocals and it's like electro swing kind of vibe. and it's basically free promo as well. But yeah, it's up to them. I'm weirdly private and also streaming. It's, I don't know, it's weird. Sort of reluctant to promo my shit. Portal. Play again. I don't want to drag on too long, but maybe we change the chord. Seeing what it was. We're in G minor. Maybe we can make it maybe the lab's choir or something would be nice here. So it's gone back to a scale, and I want it to be dramatic. So basically the beat here is this break, which I've quantized quite a bit with warping. Turn the metronome on. Still a little bit lazy in places, which I like. Here I sort of tried to extend the snare where there wouldn't have been an extension to that snare. It would have been like a 16th note before something else happened. So I guess I found somewhere else that was quiet, that was a tail of a snare or something, that stitched it together. And this kick was also moved, I think. Yeah, this kick was here, I think. And I decided to delay it, to give it a different groove. And this guy was usually an extra snare or an extra bit of noise to fill a gap. I assume this is what this was. Yeah, it's filling that hole. Still kind of sounds like a gap, but maybe not as much. And then one of these, I think this is what I recorded. Second one. It's not perfect. This, I think, was a longer loop of it, but I effected it and then rendered the effects on it. It was a spring tank reactor ensemble. And I think they start and ended in different places in the original shaker file, so they're not exactly the same. Figured for some reason that I wanted 2 shaker layers. How's that portal install? Yeah, still going. Ah, that's the plugin that's causing trouble, apparently. Back at the start, doing some tidying. I'll usually mute stuff just to experiment, and then I'll unmute it if I decide it was a bad move, but later down the line it's easier to just not have those things where they don't belong. Feel like we could try and EQ this a bit. What is this actually? Oh, it's vacuum. Huh. either here. The piano should carry on jamming out. Just make sure that I think it is. Could be D or it could be G minor, either. This chord was a G minor, yeah. Something. I don't put too much thought into this. I sort of just lay stuff down. I'll rather come back to it later if it sucks. But yeah, I don't fuss over these things too much. One of these tired moments of like, should I play that again? That was better, I don't know. See? I do want more stuff to happen here, whether it's the choir. I'm gonna be easy mode about that, see what this sounds like. I like it. It's sort of lazy, chill. I was considering, there's a reason the metronome is like double time. I was considering going jungle. And that's still a possibility, depending on how I feel. Okay, it's developed an inch. um... Ah. VST3 only now. Fancy that. Well, hopefully they've ironed out the kinks with it. SST. Interesting. Wonder what that stands for. It used to be Vember Audio Surge. Then they basically made it open source. And that's why it's being developed again. Just do some housekeeping. Wire, random color. Stop both beads. Okay, green, sure. Ooh, didn't use this. We do that second time instead. Gating all that work, of course. Octave up. Let's try edit. Vibrato. Be per clip. All right. so well in this section. Oh yeah, I had that other idea. Just I was doing some housekeeping. Vacuum lead. Let's hit save. I want to add a piano. Oh man. Also do a quick scan for the 2 new plugins. Found them. Hello, thank you. Let's get actually that. Brand isn't in that list. This little progress bar is a loading bar. Perhaps I should put this piano on my SSD. Trying to figure out what things I use often enough to warrant having them on my internal drive. I mean, I use this piano a lot. It's pretty versatile and it's not huge, you know, it's not like some contact pianos. Not all contact pianos are equal, obviously, but some contact libraries in general are huge. Let me just move this mic a little bit. So I'm not bumping it when I play. Okay, the sound I had in mind. We're in G. Something like that. Yeah. Boom. Yeah, like right there. Often misses the first note. Weird. It's a thing that Reaper does. It doesn't go that low. Okay. Maybe just out. Want it to be ugly, but maybe not that ugly. Ah, it's a velocity thing. Also the type of piano to some extent. Try a harder one. Ooh. Maybe. A little too subby. Wrench it in reverb. Maybe kind of a thing. Yeah. Bringing up that sustain. Fetching it out. Just the end of the clip. That explains a bunch. Why would I want my whole stream playing? There we go. It was like that on my previous installation, but anyway. The perils of reformatting your machine and then going about life as if nothing changed. Now maybe the flute will work. might have to do some volume automation to sort of make it swell. Nice listen from the top. I need to install my user library back for Serum. I'm missing all my custom presets. I'm going to copy these chords and add an ARP. See how it sounds. Ooh, down there, okay. Actually nice. Okay, I'll add some chords and then do an ARP. I like how this sounds actually. It was a good crackly popply project happening in here. Ha, crack bunch. Solo. Well, we can turn off the mastering chain. Also turn both of these things off, span and the loudness thingy, when we're not using them. In fact, that was the point of this track to begin with. It does sound like a serum is in there. Now we've made another layer. I guess it's that low end. If we do the verse. Okay, this will be our ARP this time. Let's see, did I install Blue ARP? Yes, I did. Before the serum, please. Yeehaw. Want to make sure everything's initialized. Okay. Step type. Okay, here is where you'll choose which note of your chord. This app is free, by the way. And this is up an octave. Okay, let's see if we can map velocity to this. And now this guy can do velocity. Now I seem to remember they fixed the thing that had been bothering me. The reset on key thing. Start on think key. The reason being, if you have an odd length of sequence, you might want to re-trigger it every time the chord happens. See what's it doing? It's notes on legato. So check this random save. Oh, randomize the velocity slightly. Yeah, it'd be cool if they had a random octave option or a like note degrees, because there's a scale lock thing. So, but anyway, what I was wondering is if I have an odd length of the sequence, whether we can have it reset on the bar, or rather whenever the chord plays. Here we go, 16th step. Like 7. Okay, it didn't reset. Try first key. No, it's not resetting. Pity. But if we shorten these all by 16th note, it never had swing. I don't know why I thought there was. Not resetting. Seems to be working. Just when it loops around, it seems to have an issue. Sometimes it does it nicely, and sometimes it's not so nice. The last few are great. Something's up here. Maybe it's start time. Doesn't reset. There we go.
you pug, you knob, you buttonhead.
I am monitoring a touch loudly. Cheers for the follow. Or rather, my song is a tad soft, perhaps. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Playing with this arpeggiator. Try and do 47. Maybe do an octave up somewhere. I like it. Let's put that tape thingy on to make it warble a bit. Feedback. So I've been wondering when I should do a feedback stream. I'd like to do a dedicated feedback stream. Otherwise, it's sort of inconsistent. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I would prefer not to set a precedent. So it would be cool to do a feedback stream at a certain time. But you know what? If you feel like getting some actual feedback, I am up for listening to something before I head off. You are welcome to just drop the link in the chat. Ooh, listen to that warble. If you have Reactor, this is a free community ensemble called TapeMate. There's another one called VHS, which adds a bit of latency that doesn't seem to get compensated. So you do have to sort of shift your track a little early if you use that one. But TapeMate seems alright and it sounds pretty awesome, I think. Cool. One sec, let's turn this down. Turn that off. I just want to hear this part again. I wonder if the choir can go any higher. No, it doesn't. Okay, it's alright. Cool, let's have a listen. Try rewind. There we go.
D-Mark got that heat on.
Dealt with many situations on my own. Mama made a beast and I don't back down. I feel an emotion and I write down. Crazy how I'm up and then I'm back down. I can heal from my trauma using simple words. Many close calls, I remember when I swerved. Don't stop, I'm distracted with the work. I plot, over time I grew mature. I plot, over time I grew mature. Spilling all my sweat and tears, I put it in the verse. I be post-traumatic, it might lead me to a hearse. Running in the family, I be thinking it's a curse. Yeah, I fell, but I got back up. I'm wish I had a heads up. I recover from all the hurt. Lost a brother, now I'm on a search. Dealt with many situations on my own. Lost a brother, now I'm on a search. Dealt with many situations on my own. Mama made a beast and I don't back down. I feel an emotion and I write down. Crazy how I'm up and then I'm back down. I can heal from my trauma using simple words. Many close calls, I remember when I swerved. Don't stop, I'm distracted with the work I plot. Over time I grew mature. Dealt with many situations on my own. Mama made a beast and I don't back down. I feel an emotion and I write down. Crazy how I'm up and then I'm back down. I can heal from my trauma using simple words. Many close calls, I remember when I swerved. Don't stop, I'm distracted with the work I plot. Over time I grew mature.
Cool, man. So are you working with the producer or did you just download his beat? Because it sounds like he's got a tag in there.
I plot. Over time I grew mature.
Which kind of clashes with your voice a bit. If you are working with him, I mean, yeah, usually they would have a tag at the beginning and not throughout. So I'm guessing you're going to buy the track from the guy. In terms of the recording of the voice, I think the verb could be, it sounds kind of like, I hear reverb, but it sounds kind of mono, like down the middle. So it would be cool if it was a stereo reverb. I'm not sure what DAW you're using. But yeah, some reverbs have a stereo with control. But if you're in, I think, Pro Tools, I'm not sure if Logic is the same, where they have mono tracks. So then even if you put a stereo plugin on it, it's only going to be mono. And that's how they record vocals. So you might have to use a reverb send in that case. You'll just have to send your vocal to a separate track that has a stereo verb on it.
With many situations on my own.
Because I think the verb could have a bit of space in the left and right, you know. And then obviously,
Mama made a beast and I don't back down.
Yeah, I mean overall the recording quality sounds pretty good. It would be cool to have some ad-libs.
I feel an emotion and I
write down. You know, that kind of a thing, like some doubles, and you can pan them a little bit or filter them down a little bit, or like take away some bass or take away some highs, make them sound slightly different, pan them a bit, or even stutter effects, right? Or like, you know, like chopped up. You can sort of do it manually or use a plugin like D-Blue Glitch. Or I think it's now ill-formed glitch. Or gross beat. So yeah, just those sorts of little flavor things, especially to differentiate sort of a verse from a chorus, would be a good idea to have that kind of differentiation where you just add another layer for certain sections, whether it's even a pitched down layer, so you could record yourself a sort of monotone softly and then pitch that an octave down or something, form and shift it. If you're in Ableton, you've got that texture warp mode, you could like play with that. Just sort of try and find other textures to layer sort of softly in the mix. Or a vocoder, if you've got vocal synth, that's a pretty dope thing. Just for, yeah, it feels like this type of track could lend itself to some more vocal production effectively. But yeah, it's a cool beat. Obviously, if you get to work with the guy or buy his beat, then you have some more options. I know someone who makes beats who could probably like do that beat for you, similar beat for you. He obviously doesn't want to rip off other people's beats, but yeah, if you're actually looking to work with someone, I could put you in touch with somebody. Although I don't know how much time he has. My brother, he's 16. but he is damn decent, especially at vocal mixes, interestingly enough. But yeah, nice vibe. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Sometimes nice to get a little ear break. But I am going to head off, I think. I'm going to listen to this once through. I'm going to maybe listen to that Wannabe track that I was working on earlier once through, and then I'm going to head off. Good luck, man. So, one thing I could potentially do is render the ARP as MIDI. I think if I just turn off this stuff, just because the MIDI seems to need some quantizing, then go new take, MIDI up. Let's just glue this to B1 take, and then MIDI output. Bam. Now it's an extra lane. I can hide the lanes. I think I've got a shortcut for that, just to hide the lanes. You only see the latest lane. And then I'll switch these guys back on. Or probably didn't need to turn it off, to be honest. Whoops. Here. Control B. Ooh. Is glitched. Oh, I'm an idiot. The thing's still here. Let's go 16th notes, or 8th notes rather. Make sure it's quantized, at least mostly. And then I was going to fade it in maybe even earlier. Do this. I was wrong. The MIDI didn't need quantizing at all. In fact, if anything, it needs loosening. Because the beat is pretty loose. So I'm going to go H for human eyes. Also, this should be bigger. I find this often happens. I don't know why Reverb defaults to a strange tiny window. Yeah, timing, let's go like 10%. Give it a late bias, because I feel like some of the notes are late. The drum notes, feel further. See how this sounds. Selected notes, should select some notes, I guess. Made the whole thing late, and I like it. So I'm going to come back to this project another day. I just like working on something of mine for a little bit. Let's have a quick last listen to Wannabe, and then I am going to head off. I feel like it's been pretty productive considering I couldn't sleep last night. For like most of the night.
I wanna hum
see if that string monos. So when I get the separate mids without the vocals in it, I will probably control the high mids a little bit. Maybe brighten it in the highs, but just control it, whether it's compression or EQ on the sort of high mids, not the super highs. But other than that, I think it's almost there. Yeah, it'll be nice to have this wrapped up. The first version that I received was not optimal. It's starting to sound better, I think, I hope. There's always a balance between sort of someone's creative vision and what someone else thinks sounds good. So, you know, the vocals could be more washed out if he wants. I feel like we can hear what he's saying a bit clearer. So we'll see. But yeah, if anyone is still hanging out, go and join our mailing list at pravdaofficial.com and be notified when the album's ready. Thanks for tuning in.